cameras have been roving the country as usual in search of new material. One of the places we found this was Newquay in Cornwall. It seems that some of the people who live down there aren't too popular with their neighbours, and come to that don't think very much of the place themselves. Just listen to this and you'll see what I mean.
Come you ladies and you gentlemen, listen to my song. Sing it to you right, but you may think it's wrong. Want to hear more than listen to me. It's all about the troubles in old Newquay, 'cause it's hard times in Newquay if you've got long hair. Well, you move in to old Newquay, then you pitch your tent down by the sea. Along come the law and they move you away. Say the urban district council don't want you to stay, 'cause it's hard times in Newquay if you've got long hair. Well, you smarten up and you put on some shoes. Try to get a job to drive away the blues. But everywhere you go, they stand and stare. Can't employ you 'cause you got long hair. Well, it's hard times in Newquay if you've got long hair. Well, to take a little drink, it ain't no sin. But there ain't a pub in Newquay that'll let me in. I search the cafes for a place to eat, but they can't serve you 'cause you're a beat. Well, it's hard times in Newquay if you've got long hair.
Yes, hard times in Newquay, it seems, for the few remaining beatniks still holding out in this Cornish stronghold against a very determined urban district council which has taken some quite unusual steps to drive out its long-haired visitors. At the height of the season there were perhaps 40 or 50 beatniks here in this North Cornish resort, say 1 to every 1,000 of Newquay's swollen summer population. But even this small figure was far too many for the short-haired burghers of Newquay. So the council wrote official letters to all the shopkeepers, cafes and bars, urging that they refuse to serve beatniks. And at the same time wrote to the Hotels Association suggesting that beatniks be given no employment, not even as washer-uppers. Why is your council giving these beatniks such a hard time?
Well, the trouble started last summer when the first invasion of these types came along. Perhaps one didn't so much object to their eccentricities of dress or even long hair. But when it came to just forgetting to wash and becoming gradually dirtier and dirtier, eventually becoming filthy and finally stinking, we felt it was more than we could stand.
How many complaints have you received from holidaymakers about these beatniks?
Quite frankly, not a great number. Quite a small number, I would say.
So it is mainly the shopkeepers who are complaining?
It is the people who run this town, who live in this town, who work in this town, and whose livelihood entirely is bound up with the tourist industry.
Among your other duties, you're the council treasurer. Now, what has Newquay lost or suffered by the arrival of these beatniks?
I would say nothing at the moment, but our fear is that if we become almost noted as a beatnik resort, we shall suffer seriously in the future.
Do you think this conspiracy of shopkeepers and cafe proprietors and innkeepers to boycott a certain group of people, certain members of the public, do you think this could stand any very close legal examination?
Difficult to say, probably not. Although I think it's wrong to assume because something is on sale in the shop window, you're bound to sell it to the person who comes in.
One old counselor in this town keeps on telling them stories about me. I wish to the Lord that counselor would die. Keeps on telling them stories about me. Oh, babe, it ain't so. Oh, babe, it ain't so. Oh, honey, I thought you know. Just that I'm having to live mighty low.
What action do you take when any of these beatniks come into your pub here?
Well, I look them over, and if I think they're very dirty, I ask them to leave.
Do you have to do that very often?
Well, I've done it a couple of dozen times since I've been here, I suppose.
Now, it's just the dirtiness. You don't object to the length of their hair?
No. A man's got a right to grow his hair to any length or his beard. But I think he owes it to his society to keep himself clean.
We heard that some of them had been employed in some of the hotels, in the kitchens, washing up. a job which is very difficult to obtain labour for. And people often, they ask me personally whether we've got any in our kitchen, doing any washing up or coming in contact with any food, and if so, they would have left immediately.
Well, if they're not employed in the hotels and they're just wandering around the streets, they still offend you?
Oh, definitely.
Why?
Well, because they're so... it's the dirty appearance. It's absolutely against the general normal appearance of Newquay, which is quite a clean resort. And to have these filthy things walking about the streets is most objectionable.
What is your name?
Sue.
Sue.
Paddy.
Paddy?
Eric.
Eric. I see. Eric, one of the complaints apparently the council make against you beatniks is that you don't wash, that you're rather dirty. Is this a valid complaint?
No, I don't think so.
It isn't?
No.
How about yourself? Do you wash very much yourself?
Fairly frequently, yes.
Well, like how often?
About once every 2 days at least.
Do you?
Mm.
Well, your friends tell me that they can't ever remember when you wash.
Oh, that's just they don't see me.
We can't even wash our hands. For about the first 2 days, we couldn't even find a place to wash our hands. The tap's about 300 yards up a hill, and the people don't like us going and getting water from there. And we have to wash in the gunnel, which isn't very pleasant.
That's the river?
Mm.
And what is your attitude to the other holiday makers down here?
Well, I think they're all a bit silly, really. You know, they walk about in these terrible-looking clothes, like long polythene macks and terrible, funny old straw hats and shorts and plimsolls. They look at us and they scream out with laughter. We don't go along the road screaming with laughter at them, you know. And it makes us ever so cross because they sort of swear out and shout things, and what gets on your nerves in the end because, well, you know.
And do you think it's a good life being a beatnik?
Oh, yes, I think it's excellent life, thank you.
Why? What makes you say that?
Well, you have the freedom, a certain amount of freedom. You can do what you like. I can leave here tonight, and I can travel to Penzance, Land's End, or anywhere I like.
Not only you can leave here tonight, I'm told you've got to leave here tonight.
Only this spot. They can't very well make us leave the town completely.
I suppose perhaps the mildest thing that could be said about beatniks is that you are probably exhibitionists.
That's what people think. They come up to you and they say, well, look at you, you're going around in mobs. And I say to them, well, you're going around in mobs, and yours is a much bigger mob. You know, I mean, they think we're doing it to be noticed.
Aren't you?
No.
What are you doing it for?
Well, all I'm doing is doing what I want to do. I'm only interested in playing the guitar and travelling. And if I like growing long hair, it doesn't bother me. I enjoy it. It's easy. You don't have to shave. And I enjoy doing it. And all my clothes I make or people give me, and I can live very cheaply on the money I earn by playing.
Well, how has this organised disapproval of beatniks affected you?
Well, it hasn't affected me. Well, it has, but not very much. I'm still here, as you can see, one of the few who are still here, because I can just make a living by playing at barbecues and things. But it's affected me as far as going into shops. I can't get a drink. I mean, to get a drink, I have to hitchhike about 20 miles out of town. Before I went round every pub in town Saturday night to get drunk, and I didn't get one drink. And I can't get a cup of tea anywhere or anything, because I'm supposedly a beatnik.
Well, there we leave Sue, Paddy, and Eric, who are apparently ever so cross down in Newquay in Cornwall.